You're listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series, and my name is Andrew Mackay-Smith. The interview subject you've tuned in to hear from is Glenn Hughes. Glenn's been in far too many projects to mention, but of course we all know his name if you're a serious rock and metal fan. The reason for the conversation is to talk up his September and October 2017 shows in Australia. So let's have a listen to what Glenn has to say. Here we go.
What can possibly be said to a bloke with such a critically revered catalogue of music? So you have a catalogue of music, if I don't know whether you've been keeping pace, but it's 50 years, mate, across multiple genres, multiple bands and collaborators, and so many important and integral musicians and artists. So I want to offer you a heartfelt congratulations. As I've already mentioned, mate, you are loved here in Australia.
Thank you.
You're right.
For me, Australia is somewhere where some of my relatives moved to when I was a child, and some of my friends moved to when I was a kid. And then, of course, I was playing there in Deep Purple in 75 and in December, and it was an epic. Actually, I played Sunbury Music Festival in early February 75,
awesome. Yeah,
which was pretty epic. And for me, I have a kind of a love affair with Australia ever since I was there all those years ago. So it was for me important to come back. I've been back about 4 or 5 times, and each time for me it's been, really epic, and I really love it.
Yeah, fantastic. So, mate, when you look back when your career started, and I believe it was in 1968 with the single "Sadie the Cleaning Lady," which I think Johnny Farnham, one of our icons in Australia, also.
Andrew, I never sang on that damn song. I think John Farnham may have recorded that song. I certainly did not. I was in a band that, something. I did record it. We didn't actually play on the song. We kind of sang it.
Yep. Back
in the 60s in London, they had session musicians playing the tracks, Mm-hmm. I hate to break the bubble for everybody, but, it's because the 60s were a different period. So, but that song, Sadie the Damn Cleaning Lady, is like, what? You did what now?
Yes.
You really did that song? I think I might have been 15 or something. But, you can hear me, yipping Sadie in the background.
Okay.
Wow, what an introduction to a music career, huh?
It was. Well, mate, who would have thought that along the way you'd also, of course, I think with your enormous talent, it was obvious that it was eventually going to happen, but you're inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Deep Purple, and I will ask your opinion on that because there's a lot of conjecture about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame amongst rock fans and critics, its relevance and the like. However, I believe it's a momentous accolade to receive. So what are your thoughts on the Hall and indeed the induction?
I'm a huge sports fanatic fan. I'm huge. Of course, English, European football,
yep.
South American football, of course. And boxing and cycling and swimming and all kinds of sports and basketball and it's an American football. So, and the Hall of Fame, it started out being a sports, genre.
Yep.
And now it's in the arts too. Now it's, sort of, you got the Oscars and, the Academy Awards. But now it's in music.
Yes.
Especially rock and roll, and to be inducted into this grand institution that has not been around. I think it's been around, 40 years now.
Yep.
And to be one of only 157 artists to be included in this Hall of Fame is a huge thing, in America. So to be part of that place where my boyhood heroes, the Beatles, who I wouldn't know I was going to actually meet at one point and befriend Ringo, up there, I'm in this place with heroes of mine, and when I was a child, and to be in this hall with my old band Deep Purple is kind of a huge thing. Because I'm still a fan of musicians, famous or not famous. I just love music, and to be included in this category with these guys and girls is really beautiful.
Yeah, wonderful. And Another question I've got for you, and this is a question I don't think I've ever seen you. You might have addressed this in interviews that aren't online, but the first time I ever heard you was through your collaboration with the KLF way back in 1991 on What Time Is Love. Now, of course, I remember the track, and I was wondering who the deep voice that was providing the narration belonged to way back then. So that was my introduction to you, as I've said. But what can you tell us about that collaboration?
I never got to. I did the video clip with them at Shepperton Studios, and I did get to meet the actor. I didn't really know who he was. I don't know if he was famous or not. Fame is a word that I never normally use because it doesn't make any sense to me. But the clip itself and the song was an epic song in I think it was #1 in like 18 countries.
Massive song.
And that was the thing that got me back. That was the thing that sort of drew me back into making music again after a 10-year absence, pretty much. Although I wasn't absent in the 80s, I just don't remember the 80s. And when I came back in 91, it was kind of an epic thing to do the KLF. It was a pretty weird, glorious rock, dance groove, acid house kind of track. So I've always liked to tick the boxes of other genres. I've always liked to do things a little out of the box, and long may that continue.
Another collaborator that I will ask you this: did you work with J.K. Lee in the studio, or was it something that you did separately and you sort of mailed in the different parts? Because my favourite track of yours, or my favourite performance of yours on a track, is on "Get Down, Make Love" from the cover of the song from Queen's "News of the World."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm a bass player.
I've done so many damn... Okay, so...
I love that.
So, yeah, I mean, I did that. I think I did that some like 20 years ago. Everybody's got their own little piece of Glennisms they like, and when you say, I have to go, oh my God, I actually did that. So I've done so many recordings, and I've been so honored and grateful to still do what I do. I mean, it's been almost 50 years I've been making records, and so, I'm just really grateful to still have that. The gift that was freely given to me is so important, and I want to give it back. I want to give it back to those people that love music.
Well, I mentioned I'm a bass player, and I do love your bass playing, and frankly, I feel you're an extraordinarily underrated bass player. I think most people know you, of course, for your wonderful vocal contribution, but, your bass playing is very rocky, but as far as I'm concerned, and I'm a bit of a funk and jazz guy at heart, you're definitely a funk guy as well.
Yeah.
And you really understand rhythm and groove,
I am, it's been said, this is not by me, it's been said by people that because everybody talks about my voice, which is I'm so happy about. But it's like one of the guys that works with me says, people really should listen to the way you play bass because people just listen to the voice, and I'm really happy that they do. But I really love playing R&B and rock music. I think when you mix R&B and rock music together, and you throw in some things that I do, it's very aggressive, but it's got that R&B root, It's got that Detroit Tamla Motown thing. So
yeah, a lot of James Jamison you were playing.
Well, I was just saying, I did a memorable evening at James Jamison tribute with my friend Stevie Wonder about 4 years ago, and I was the only white bass player out of 60 bass players that came to do the session, and it was like, here I am, bowing to the altar of James Jamison. I look around the room and I'm going, oh my God, I think I'm the only white bloke here. And I'm going, well, I'm looking around the room at these insane bass players and and the band led by my friend Stevie Wonder, and it was a great moment for me to be standing on stage with these incredible bass players, Nathan, East, and all these incredible R&B guys,
Yeah, wonderful, mate.
James Jamison Jr.
So what sort of basses are you using in 2017?
Oh, good grief. I'm still using a lot of old Fenders, a lot of 57P, 62J are the two ones I use a lot on records. And, I don't normally travel. Some people do travel with their antiques, I don't normally travel with them, so I play Bill Nash basses, and that are actually, they look and sound very, very, very close to vintage Fenders, incredibly so. So I don't want to fool anybody when they see me with an old bass. It's probably a relic or something, or a replica of something that I have that's been made into something that looks very similar. I would like to tell you the real story, and I just did, because if I told you that I was traveling with my antique, so it'd be wrong, But I love playing the bass, and then it's the sole purpose of the groove is so important to me. The groove is so damn important.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'm really happy that
you're one of the few rock bass players that really know how to work the offbeat, in my opinion.
Thank you. I always like to stay behind the beat, and I say it's the notes I do not play that are more important than the notes I play.
Yes.
Now, some of my dear friends, bass playing friends, are very, very quick with their, they're doing their hammer-ons, and they're doing their guitar virtuoso skills on the bass. Although I do like to play up top, it's like I like to play down the bottom end. I really am into the groove, and it's the notes I don't play are more important than the notes I play. It's just a groove-based thing.
What's your favourite bass line, or what song has your favourite bass line that you've created?
Woo! I think Coffee and Vanilla off of Feel. That's got a great bass groove to it. I mean, you can even like Sail Away from Deep Purple. That riff is something I came up with back in the day, and even in Purple, I brought it with me, and I mean, I could name 10 songs that are in the rock genre that I wrote that are very much. I was thinking about Detroit as I was writing them, Off of my new album, there's a song called Heavy, and My Town, and they're very heavy songs, but they're very, very groove-orientated. And Getting Tighter from Come Taste the Band, Deep Purple, I wrote it with Tommy Bolan. That's got a badass groove to it. You keep on moving that down, bum, bum. It's very, very Detroit. And, yeah, that's where I live.
Do you think
in that realm?
Do you think if you were born in the States that you would have had a career as an R&B crooner and singer as opposed to, of course, your birthplace in England and becoming a rock guy?
Well, before I joined Purple, I'd made an album with my band Trapeze called You Are the Music, We're Just a Band, and it was the last rock album I made. I was starting to get really intensified with jazz and groove and R&B back in 1972. And then, of course, when I joined Purple, I went to sort of go back into the rock pack. And I realized that, number one, I'm a white man. That I'm very honored to have joined Deep Purple. But I was never going to be able to convince people that the only band that really ticked the boxes that were white, that actually had that real R&B sound, was the Average White Band back in 1973 or 4, so for me, mixing R&B, really intense Tamla Motown music with rock music is something that is part of Glenn Hughes. It's who I am. It's I can't hide from it. If I try and hide from it, you'll know that I'm hiding it. You can't do it. So I got to be exactly who I am.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about you then for a moment and exactly who you are. I do have 3 questions that I ask all of my interview subjects, Glenn, so I'd love it if you could humour me here and play along. So here's the first of the 3 questions. If you could choose 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be?
Sensitive. Emotional. And calm.
Sensitive, emotional, and calm. Okay, great 3 choice of words there. And here's the big one.
Yeah, that's coming from my soul. I mean, I don't want to say aggressive, angry and stupid. I mean, I'm very where I'm at in my life. I've got to remain that. If I'm, calm and sensitive and emotional, then I think I'm going to be okay.
Yep, Yeah, no, good point. And look, on that note, if you could go back to when you were 18 years of age, what advice do you think you'd give yourself?
Well, back in 18 was a good year for me because I didn't start going off the rails till a while later. But for me, all through my teens, from 13 to 19, it was only about one thing. And that was just becoming a better musician and a better person and a better singer and and to learn about life and the planet. I'm a scholar. I like to think I could go back and learn more about everything,
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to do. I like to read books, and I've always been a bookworm.
Yep.
But I think I'd like to go back and do it all over again. I don't think I've had in my life. I've done some things that were wrong, if I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
But the things I did wrong, I've learned so much about myself because of the things that were wrong. So they may have been right for some people, but I've learned by every mistake you can imagine. I wouldn't want to change any of those mistakes because it's made me the person I am right now.
Yeah, great response, mate, and appreciate your candor on that one there. So here's my final question of the discussion. If you could invite 5 guests from any time in history, living or dead, to a dinner, who would you invite?
William Blake.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Jim Morrison.
Yep.
My friend David Bowie.
Yes.
Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
And to top it all off, Winston Churchill. Got to have a Brit thrown in there.
That you do. That's a very diverse list. And I was just watching Twin Peaks, the new version of Twin Peaks the other night, and much to my surprise and delight, David made an appearance. Yeah.
No, yeah. I know. I miss him so much, and it was terrible for all of us when he passed. And he was an icon to the whole world, but he was my mate, and
he's your buddy, yeah.
It was devastating for all of us. All of us.
Have you got a quick story that you could share that happened between yourself and David? Some sort of funny anecdote?
Well, he moved into my home in March of '75, and he went in my closet and threw out all my flared pants and snakeskin boots, and he told me to change. He said, "Don't stay the same. Always, keep reinventing." I was a little bit upset with the behavior of my buddy, but I understand why he did it, and I thanked him for that years later. But he wanted me to keep reinventing and reestablishing who I am as an artist and as a man, So I've never really stayed in the same complete genre all my whole life. I've always been changing and always been not frightened to do something new and different,
Yes.
like the KLF and stuff like that, or working with opera singers or orchestras, I love to do orchestral work. But thanks to David, who came into my life like a whirlwind and just basically said, throw it all out and start again. Throw it all out and start again. I can still hear him saying it.
Well, thanks very much, mate. I better let you go to your next interview. What I can tell you, though, mate, it's been an honour and a privilege for me. Thank you so much for the discussion, and all the very best, and I will definitely be in the crowd when you tour Australia.
Come on, and thank you so much, Andy. Nice to meet you.
No worries, mate. Okay, all the best.
You're welcome, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No worries. Okay. Bye. Catch you.
You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series, and my name is Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject was Glenn Hughes. Thank you so much for listening.